Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, and I am your podcast host of Unbreakable Mompreneurs. And today we are here with Elona Lopari, and she is going to teach you about business and scaling and the 7 foundational pillars. So, Elona, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sherry, thank you so much for having me here. And I love mompreneurs because we wear so many hats, and I am one. So I'm glad to be here and kind of share some of my knowledge and expertise with your audience. And hopefully they will connect a few dots in their journey of being a mom and being an entrepreneur, so they can, realize their life's purpose, do more good in the world, and then align purpose with profit. That's really what I do. So that was the introduction right there. I help people scale purpose and profit because I realized that for the longest time, we've done it the wrong way in business. Usually it's always like profit. And then if I like it, if something that I care about, then I'll worry about the purpose piece. But now we're shifting. We're all shifting as humanity, and especially after COVID, people are really digging deep into what is it that they care about, their values, what is the work that they want to do in the world, what's important to them, how to leverage their life journeys, experiences, skills, expertise in service towards others. So that's what I mean by purpose. And the way I do that is through fractional COO services and HR services for companies that are at scale. And I use the foundational pillars, the 7 pillars of branding, marketing, sales, operations, systems, and team to help people navigate through the journey of entrepreneurship and solve 2 main problems, which usually show up in business all the time, which is the first one is always inconsistent sales and cash flow. And then the second one, once with that problem is taken care of, the good problem to have is scaling. We reach a certain ceiling and we necessarily might not know how to scale at the next level.
Wow. You were able to nitpick. I mean, just that was a lot. And for those that were not listening very carefully, I want us to kind of go through that a little slower. And so you said the 7 pillars. You walk people through how to scale their business and what they need to do based upon these 7 pillars. So can you repeat those 7 and just briefly describe each one really quickly?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's branding. Branding is all about getting known for the one thing, your thought leadership, how to position yourself in your business. The next one is marketing, all about building trust, know, like, and trust, and bringing in the right traffic towards your business and the right eyes. The third one is sales. How do we now take the traffic and really build know, like, and trust nurture sequences for our prospects and for our clients, so that we have consistent sales always coming in our company, which is really the marketing and the sales is the heart of any business. Right. Without that, branding is great. You have all of that figured out, but the profit piece is always usually in the marketing and the sales. Right. And then we have our systems. What can we systematize? What can we optimize? What can we delegate? What can we create standard operating procedures around? Anything then repeats. How can we delegate it to somebody else if it's not in our genius as entrepreneurs and CEOs? And then the last part is always the human resource, which is people, team. How do we hire, bring the right people on board? What are the right positions to place people into, and then eventually start to scale that way so that you remove yourself from the company eventually, giving you more time. Usually most entrepreneurs go into entrepreneurship for the flexibility, for the time to be able to do work they love, but also to be able to solve the right problems in the world and have time freedom and location freedom. So going through those 7 pillars, that's the main result. You have a scalable company that is built like an asset, and it's something that is going to live beyond the owner.
I absolutely love that. I was talking with somebody recently, and he's built an HVAC company, and he's made it so that he works from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and that's it. His employees come in during that time, and then once they start going out on the jobs, he goes home. And so, I mean, he has a very successful business and he is happy with what he's doing. And it's because he's learned these 7 pillars now. And so it's much easier to be able to walk away. And I think I was on a podcast talking with someone else the other day, and it really, we become married to our job as an entrepreneur if we don't know how to do these things that you're talking about. And so our passion, which I love that you talk about passion what was it? Passion to
well, passion to connect it to purpose, because usually it's 2 ways that we really want to build businesses. It's
Right.
through, we have a passion and now we want to share it with more people, or we have pain and we want to turn that pain into purpose, meaning through our pain and what we've learned, now we want to help other people that might be in similar pains.
Right.
So it's usually those 2 things that we're always going for. Unfortunately, most people, will turn their pain into purpose. It's kind of what I've seen the most.
Yeah, it is. And I think that that's going back to what I was going to say is we create this business out of a passion or a purpose, and then it becomes a pain because we're married to it and we don't know how to fix it. And so you're able to take people through that whole journey so that they can actually, I love that, time freedom, location freedom.
Yeah, well, most important also, Charisse, is that a lot of moms and women, we're multi-passionate. I mean, the biggest pain point I've always had, especially in the startup phase of my business, was to niche down, to focus on the one thing, right? Because we have so much life experience, right? And it's very hard to focus on the one thing. So when you have a business that usually, when I talk about team, it's usually 5 team members that you need, and your business operates on its own. And then you figure out another project to focus on. Because knowing, moms or an entrepreneur at heart, we're always are looking for a project to work on. We can't just be like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? Because I need something to build, right? Something to do that I love. So it's usually always your executive assistant. It's always your service delivery person, your marketing, your sales, and leadership that oversees all these 5. Right. So with 5 positions, you're able to pretty much move yourself out of the business, and you're able to then free up a lot of your time and be intentional about, how you want to spend your life. Do you want to do more travel? Do you want to do more of the very strict boundary, 4 hours a week I work, or 4 hours a day I work, right? So then you can be more intentional, because then you're not doing the wrong things that you don't care about in the business. You're leveraging other people's talents, but most importantly, always also bringing in the profit side, which you get to the next level, you just reinvest the profit and you just make more money, and money makes you more money, right? At that point, you're not trading time for money anymore. You move to the next phase.
That is so true. And for those listening that are new, it's called the C-suite. If you can put your C-suite in place, then, you can actually leave that company somewhat alone and go on to your next project. I know somebody that he builds his businesses up to, I think he said 40%, and then he lets them take it, or maybe it's 60%, and then he lets them take over the rest. And so, you don't have to get to the very end where you're ready to sell or something. You could just build it up and then move on to the next business adventure that you have. Because it's true. We tend to, get a little bored. And so we move on to the next thing. And yeah, it's not quite ready yet. So you mentioned being a mom. What is your advice for women who are entrepreneurs and how to juggle that? What have you seen with your clients, or what do you wish you would have known that you know now?
Yeah, I'm not going to start with where everyone starts, self-care, because depending on where everyone is in the stages of growth of your kids. Now my kids are older. They're in middle and high school. So I'm at the next level. I got graduated from physical work, being physically there for my kids at all times. And that phase is very challenging for a lot of moms that have younger kids. Because they need a lot of physical attention, like you literally, you have to be part of that. And then as they grow through the stages of, youth and preteen and teenage and all of that, it gets easier, because then, you've already, they are empowered. They can physically do a lot of things on their own. And hopefully if they have, you've taught them, good things, they're independent, right? And they can just now be on their own. And eventually even your parenting changes. That's what I've noticed with my kids. Right now I'm going into complete detachment, adulthood, where I'm just talking to my kids like a friend. There's no more like parenting involved because I've seen the shifts and the changes in them. And they're already, if they've learned lessons, they already learned all the lessons by now. So it's moving into that phase. So obviously it's a little bit easier in the priorities shift, all the things that I have to do with the business, but I think it's back to being intentional. That's why I speak about being intentional, because when you know exactly what to focus on in your business, and also have a lot of clarity around the vision for the family, because honestly, a family is just like a business.
I was
Because
going to say
it's a
that.
business anyway. Like I like to look at business like family because I'm very family oriented myself. It's like a unit of people coming together, working towards the same vision, mission, purpose. That's usually what a family is. So always put that first, put yourself first, right? Because again, if you know, we all heard, if your cup is not full, then you can't obviously pour into your family or your business.
Yeah.
So let's order priority you first, schedule that time in first. It's not selfish, it's necessary. And then focus on the priorities of your family second, and I say business third.
Yeah.
Because we've seen also this shift and this done the wrong way where everything is business, business, business. And then, you know, the founders and the CEOs or the entrepreneurs have always suffered the consequences of their health or poor relationships or all the stories that we've heard. So I think if you just have a clear focus on the macro situation and where you are in your life right now, so doing a little life management work of what's important to you and what, you know, what is needed in the family and what are the most important things that you should focus on, and then kind of calendar that into your agenda, then you can just rest, you know, not rest in peace, but rest assured that you are focusing on the most important priorities. And then when you're in the business, you're not thinking of the kids. Yeah. When you are with your kids, you're not thinking of the business. Yeah. When you're with your partner, you're not thinking of all the other things, open loops, things to do. Right. So, and again, this is not a perfect process. Obviously, there's going to be days where it's like, to hell with anything, but just you get back to your priorities, you know, write them all down, and then keep a strict eye on the things that you're looking to do, and give yourself, you know, room for flexibility. That's something I've had to learn because I was usually pretty rigid, especially in my corporate experience. But just give yourself room for flexibility, learning, growth, falling down, getting back up. Not every day is going to be perfect. But I think as long as you have like a master plan of what you're trying to accomplish, it keeps you very focused as well. And it keeps you, you know, feeling happy and productive, because happiness comes from progress. As long as we're moving towards the right things, slowly but surely, to each his own, then we feel happy as humans because we're working within the purpose of what we decide is important to us. So that's usually something that I've seen that gives people more happiness than just actually accomplishing certain goals and be like, okay, I did that, check, check, check. The progress of the growth and you working on the right things is more important. And be patient, no comparison. Your journey, your family is your own, your unique journey is your own. Remove all of that if there's anything like that mindset-wise happening, and just, you know, stay focused on the priorities that are important to you, and you already decided that ahead of time.
I love that. And, you know, we don't always talk about, because with entrepreneurs, it is about business, business, business. But at the same time, I like how because I was going to say that family is kind of like a business as well, that you don't need to run it like a business, but there should be a purpose. There should be a passion. There should be something that you're working towards. And I think that sometimes we wake up, we get so routine oriented that we don't really take the time. And, you know, last weekend it was interesting because my son's graduating this year from high school, and he's like, he called me, he's like, Mom, do you want to come to this? It was basically a dance. It was like a jazz dance thing at school, and he was in it last year. And so he wanted to go this year. And I was so tired. I'm like, oh, you know, but it came back to me that no, like he's actually as a senior in high school is asking his mom to come with him to this activity. You know, why aren't you asking a friend? But what I realized with him, because he has special needs, that he just needed me to be there as a coach, basically. And so I was there to dance like the 1 or 2 dances, and then he was able to branch out with his friends. And so as we were sitting there watching him, he'd like ask this one girl to dance. And then she was standing there because she wanted to dance again, but he didn't pick up on that. And he goes and asks our friend, we're like, no. And so it's kind of the same thing in business. We come back, we're like, do you realize that she was waiting for you? He's like, no, I didn't. I said, you can dance with another person twice. It's okay. You could even do 3 times and you can get a number. And so I think that we sometimes forget that, we're so used to coaching our employees, we're so used to coaching, but our kids need us too in different ways and teaching. And so if you can think of it as a mom that I like how you said that they don't need you as physical. Like I have a 9 and 10-year-old that she just wanted me to hold her yesterday. Bad day. So we cuddled on the couch for a little bit, watched a show, and then she was okay. She had a friend come over and she was fine. And so accepting those different levels in a business as well as in a family, I think is important. So thank you for marrying those two.
Well, thank you for sharing that story, because I have a similar story, but I think it's all the same because it's all relationships, human relationships. To me, I mean, I've always been a person, somebody that wanted always to know, like, what's at the core of things, like what's at the core of business, what's at the core of life, what are some patterns that repeat, and it's all about relationships. And I don't know, obviously, if you have heard of the 5 love languages, but those are alive and real. Just because maybe my love language is not physical touch, but my kid wanted a hug, right? You gotta pick up the clues of how they want to receive your love, because a lot of the times we think that, well, they know we love them, but are they actually receiving love in their own language?
Right.
So I've personally done a lot of work in this area as well, because I really believe that I mean, what's the point of having the success from the outside and the way that we kind of have seen it build the material success and the big business and all of that, those accolades, if you're at home and the people around you are starving for love? Because honestly, that's the best way we can protect them when they get older in this life that they're living in. If they feel loved and they have learned how to love themselves, that's honestly the biggest preparation a parent can do. Right. And it's not usually what I also thought it would be, like prepare them financially, ensure that they have all the skills. And it's great for them to learn money skills and, emotional management skills and, how to take care of their brain and all of that, confidence and all of these things, which are important. But I think at the core of anything is the love that they're receiving and filling that up all the time, which is why I said make sure that you get yours filled up first from yourself and then the people around you, so that you can give back. But if you just look at it in a more holistic way, to me there's no difference, especially if your business, you love what you do. I don't think any entrepreneur can really separate business from life. That's a challenge and a cursing, and also a blessing and a cursing, and on the both spectrums. Because you can work 24/7 and don't have the harmony or the balance as we kind of are used to hearing it. But also on the other end, you get to do work you love, so you never feel like you work a day in your life, because it's like, I love this so much, I can't believe I'm getting paid for it. And you get paid for solving other people's problems. So I also have a very holistic, I like to look at macro stuff, what are the most important priorities? I do that very organically for businesses too, because it's very easy to get caught in the little details that are not really serving the bigger purpose of why we're doing what we're doing. And then, get frustrated or miss or make the wrong decision because of our blocks or stories or emotions. So inner work, I think it's very important as well. And that's why I talk about growth, because the more you grow, the more you bring yourself to the family, to your business, anywhere else that you like to interact with people, your friends, your hobbies and all of that. So, because multifaceted human.
Yeah, it is. And I think that your insecurities come out no matter where you're at. So they're going to come out at work. They're going to come out at home. If you're not feeling like you're the greatest mom, you tend to react to that mindset. And so your kids see it and you might be a little more short with them or something. And at work, it's that imposter syndrome where, wow, I'm running this really successful business. Am I really capable of it? Well, obviously you are, because you built that. And so it's, how do you make sure that what you're feeling inside, you're not projecting if it's negative, that you've got to turn that around. And you're right. Mindset's everything. It is. So we've talked a lot about kind of the foundation and making sure that we're balancing that. And what else, when you're coaching people, what do you find is this common underlying theme that needs to be fixed?
I think is the missing of the bigger picture of what they're trying to build, if we're going to talk about business, or even personal life. So having clarity on what's important to them and what is those missing dots, especially in their business, that they need to know as the founder, so they can make the right strategic decision that grows their brand, but also aligns their profits. Because one of the major pain points for most entrepreneurs is always the profit side, meaning they're not making enough money, or they're just spreading themselves too thin, working on a million projects, getting distracted, not knowing what to focus on, what's more important right now, what's that one thing, simplifying things. And then once the owner understands the whole blueprint of the business, then you can know, okay, I'm in this phase right now of my business, and here's this is the right problems for me to focus on and solve. And that, by doing that, then you obviously have ensured that you build something sustainable, but then that you're also focusing on the right problem, and then you can move on to the next phases of growth. Because also business growth is just like life cycles, right? There's birth, there's toddler phase, there's youth, there's preteen, there's teenager, just like we talked about kids and parenting. Business is just the same. You can't focus, and most entrepreneurs focus on scaling when they haven't even figured out a lot of the foundational pieces in the business first. And they don't have a business model that sustains that. Because if they haven't built all these different pillars that I talked about at the beginning, then focusing on a $50 business model, whether that's a course or a membership or something else you have created, will never get you the financial goals that you're looking for, because they don't understand their sales cycles. And you obviously need a lot of clients to buy that $50 course so you can even make $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month. So misalignment between that, I see that over and over as well.
I agree. In a business, I call it forming, storming, norming, and performing. And a lot of people get caught up on that storming, and understanding that when things don't go the way that you want, even in a relationship, that's the storming part. Just work through it, and then if you can get to the other side, you create norms, and then you can perform. So I love that. That's fantastic. Well, last question. If you were sitting on a park bench, and your 18-year-old self is sitting next to you, what advice would you give her?
Well, your future is brighter than you thought it would be. I wish that you didn't worry so much about all the things I probably worried in my journey. And just trust yourself, your gut, and your intuition. It's the strongest thing that I had. I just never realized that it was there. I didn't know how to use it. So that's probably what I would tell my younger version of self.
I love that. Well, Elona, thank you so much for being on our show. And for our Unbreakable Moms, you are so wonderful. And I hope that you realize that and take your believe that you can achieve anything that you want. Elona, if someone wanted to reach out to you, how would they find you?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation. I find that every heart-to-heart conversation is just fuels you. It doesn't drain your energy, because you're always learning and growing, and you're always sharing and filling each other up. So that's kind of what I felt from this conversation as well. And I hope the audience obviously will do the same. They can go on my website, elonaloparicoaching.com, and I have free resources on there. I have a masterclass that kind of walks people through all these different things, the pillars that I talked about, a little bit more in depth, so that they can self-assess, okay, where am I, what phase and stage of growth am I in my business, and what are those gaps that I might be experiencing, and what are some of those things that they can do to be able to bridge those gaps between their the scaling of their company. So that masterclass is right on the homepage of the website at elonaloparicoaching.com.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, well, have a great day. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Charisse Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Charisse Walker.